9:20 through 21. But who are you, a human being, to talk back to God? Shall what is formed say to the one who formed it, "Why did you make me like this?" Does not the potter have the right to make out of the same lump of clay some pottery for special purposes and some for common use? Recently, during a conversation with my wife, we dove into the initial chapters of Genesis. She is part of a women's group that has committed to reading the entire Bible in 1 year, and our discussion centered around her reflections on these passages. She got a little stuck on God regretting that He made mankind, Genesis 6:6. She further researched that God also felt regret after He made Saul king, Samuel 15:11. This raises a question about God's omniscience. Why would He regret what He already knew would happen? She came to the conclusion that God's regret is probably much different than our human regret for our mistakes. She goes on, since God has foreknowledge, He would have known these outcomes in advance, yet God allowed them to happen anyway in order to achieve His sovereign purpose. My thoughts, the issue of God regretting in scriptures can be quite complex. Many theologians and scholars have explored this topic from various angles over the years. The idea of God's regret, as mentioned in the Bible, raises questions about the nature of God's omniscience and how that interacts with human actions and decisions. The concept of God's regret can be approached from different perspectives, including understanding it as an anthropomorphic language used to help humans relate to and understand God's actions and emotions. It is important to remember that human language and concepts are limited in describing the nature of God, and sometimes anthropomorphic language is used to convey the theological truths in a way that humans can grasp. Considering the concept of God's foreknowledge and sovereign purpose, some theologians understand God's regret as a way to express His response to human actions and decisions within the context of His broader plan. This perspective sees God's regret as an acknowledgement of the reality of human choices and their consequences, while also affirming the sovereignty of God to work all things according to His will and purpose. Anthropomorphic, having a human form or attribute or being described as having human likeness, appearance, or behavior. It can also mean ascribing human characteristics to non-human things. In the context of Jesus, some theologians' interpretations and descriptions may use anthropomorphic language to describe the aspects of Jesus' nature or actions in ways that humans can relate to or understand, even though they may not fully capture the divine reality. So, example of this is God sending His Son to this world so that we may understand.